What's good, YouTube? Y'all ought to know it's your boy. Them boys page, y'all ought to know it's your boy, Road to Rob up in this mug.
I already know what's going on, man. I know it's your boy Cameron Fisher. Anytime you see our face, you know it's time for another reaction, man.
Man, this right here is the coward way to complete a history of decisions that ruined the NBA. I ain't gonna need no lie. I already know this finna be about. I already know. You gonna start off with I know it's gonna be something with LeBron when he joined Miami.
Probably before then. You know how them folks is.
with
They
the
probably gonna do the
Celtics.
Celtics, which they should not be on there.
Oh Lord, this finna be wild. You know, this finna be wild. But you said
But I ain't gonna lie, they wasn't on coward about this.
the coward's way.
They should be better about this.
The coward's way of running in there. They crazy. You said the cows. Now, come on now. We talking spicy now. I ain't gonna lie.
Earliest beginnings of the NBA in the 1950s and working through virtually every decade all the way up to modern history. During that time,
Come on, go back now. Hey. Take it back one now.
there have been countless dynastic teams which have reigned supreme throughout the course of NBA history, dating back to the earliest beginnings of the NBA in the 1950s and working through virtually every decade all the way up to modern history. During that time, teams have been built through the draft and by cultivating their talent or by adding pieces in free agency. However team building occurred in the past, that all came to an abrupt and declarative end on July 8th, 2010, when after weeks of speculation, LeBron James sat down in a Boys and Girls Club in Greenwich, Connecticut for a 75-minute special.
What?
Yes, you heard that correctly. The epic Cringe Fest, hosted by Jim Gray, lasted an impossible to believe 75 minutes. And nearly 30 minutes into that show, at 9:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, LeBron James lit a match that would burn the NBA to the ground.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
For virtually the entire decade that would follow. A decade marked by player empowerment, mass player movement, collusion, and super team building that quite frankly destroyed the competitive balance of the entire sport. And it is important to note that a great team does not necessarily constitute a super team. We have seen countless great teams throughout NBA history, the earliest example of which produced the greatest dynasty ever, the 1960s Boston Celtics, who captured 11 of 13 NBA championships behind a plethora of Hall of Fame players such as Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, Tom Heinsohn, Sam Jones, and Casey Jones. Yes, make no mistake, the Celtics of this era were stacked. But every single one of these players were drafted by the Boston Celtics. This team was built and grown organically. The following decade would also produce a team that was super in appearance and is generally regarded as one of the greatest teams ever assembled. The 1972 LA Lakers, who won an NBA record 69 games at the time, a record which stood for over 20 years until the 95-96 Bulls won 72. This team paired elite Hall of Fame players such as Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, and Will Chamberlain. But as with the Celtics team that preceded this one in the previous decade, this team was mostly drafted. Elgin Baylor and Jerry West were both drafted by the Lakers and played their entire careers there. And yes, they did add Wilt, but Chamberlain was 32 years old when he joined the Lakers and in the twilight of his career, as he averaged just 17 points per game in his 5 seasons with LA, compared with the first decade of his career in the league when he averaged 36 a night. He joined a Lakers team that had famously failed time and time again to get it done, losing 8 finals appearances. The team that finally got over the hump in 1972 was a collection of older players late in their careers, a very far cry From the collusion-generated pairings of elite players in their primes we would see years later. The 80s would yield two dynastic and loaded teams in the Boston Celtics and LA Lakers. The heart of the Celtics team was its three-headed frontcourt monster, consisting of Hall of Famers Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish. Bird and McHale were both drafted by Boston, and they played their entire careers with the Celtics. While Parrish did come to Boston in 1980 via free agency after 4 years with Golden State, he was joining Larry Bird, who was just in his second season at the time, and Kevin McHale, who was a rookie. This team was great. This team was dynastic.
And see, that's my thing. I don't consider those super teams either. What he's saying is the logic. If you join the team early off in your career, or if you what I mean early off, I mean like this your second year, like your second or third year in your career, or if you was drafted from a team, you know what I'm saying, or if you join the team in your prime, but that team not good at all, you know what I'm saying. That's different. Like if you were to join the team in your prime, and then you know what I'm saying, they send somebody else over there, and they, you know what I'm saying, that's not a super team to me.
But it was not super. Their primary foe in this era was the juggernaut Lakers, with an embarrassment of riches, boasting arguably two top 5 players of all time in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson. And Kareem was not drafted by the Lakers. Kareem was drafted by small market Milwaukee, was arguably the best player in the NBA at the time, and had won multiple league MVPs with the team that had drafted him when he decided to jump ship to LA in his late 20s. Does this sound familiar? But Kareem didn't join up with Magic Johnson when Magic was in his prime. Magic wasn't making perennial All-NBA first teams when Kareem decided to go around his organization's back and circumvent rules to collude and recruit other elite All-Stars to join up there. No, Kareem joined a Lakers team in 1975 that was just 30-52 the year before. And in that 1975-76 season, Kareem won the league MVP in his first year with the Lakers, while Magic Johnson was still in high school. Kareem would win the league MVP again the following season, while lifting the Lakers to the #1 seed in the Western Conference.
That's crazy.
Magic, meanwhile, still in high school. Then in 1979, 4 years after Kareem joined the Lakers, LA would draft Magic Johnson. Then, in 1982-83, they drafted the third piece of their Hall of Fame triumvirate in James Worthy, who would also play his entire career with the Lakers. A far cry from the cowardly ass-shaking and team-building we would see decades later. Into the 90s, and Michael Jordan would emerge as the greatest force of nature in the modern era, producing 6 consecutive championships throughout the decade in years that he started and played a full season. But this team was a far cry from a super team. The first 3 titles in 91 to 93 had only 2 All-Stars on the team in Jordan and Pippen, both drafted by the Bulls. And after a year and a half in baseball retirement, Jordan would come back to the NBA and win 3 more titles. This team would add Dennis Rodman, who, yes, would go on to eventually make the Hall of Fame, leading some people to very incorrectly designate this team a super team. For starters, Jordan and Pippen were, again, both drafted by the Bulls. But most importantly, Dennis Rodman was 34 years old when he joined Chicago. Dennis Rodman never...
God! Nigga, 34?
Yeah. You know that? Yeah, man. He wasn't young.
Damn! That's crazy.
Dennis Rodman was 34 years old when he joined Chicago. Dennis Rodman never sniffed an All-Star team while he was playing with Chicago. Dennis Rodman averaged 5 points per game in his 3-year run with Chicago. Despite how desperately a certain sect of delusional fans want to paint this into some super pairing, they would be gravely mistaken. And the 2000s would see the rise of 2 dynastic teams, or should I say dynastic players, as Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan would combine to win 10 championships, 5 each, during a 15-year span from 1999 to 2014. And each would do it while wearing 1 jersey for their entire careers.
That is insane. From 1999 to 2014, only 2 players was good, just comes getting ring. Just comes,
Same
well,
team.
two of the, you know what I'm saying, best players on the team.
Same team.
That's crazy, dog.
With the same franchise, both Bryant and Duncan would win titles with a vastly different assortment of cast and crew. Tim Duncan would do it playing alongside and winning titles with some combination of 4 different expected Hall of Famers throughout his 19-year career that included David Robinson, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Kawhi Leonard, all of which, every single one, were drafted by the Spurs, as was Duncan himself. Kobe Bryant, meanwhile, would win 5 titles in his career, playing with only one other Hall of Famer for 2 different stints as a Laker to capture all 5 of his rings. First and most famously was Shaquille O'Neal. The two would dominate the NBA like few teams ever have, becoming just the 3rd team to ever win 3 consecutive titles, and doing it with just those 2 All-Stars. And after years of playing with some of the worst collection of talent in the sport, the Lakers would acquire Pau Gasol
So I did want
to capture all 5 of his rings. First and most famously was Shaquille O'Neal. The two would dominate the NBA like few teams ever have, becoming just the 3rd team to ever win 3 consecutive titles, and doing it with just those 2 All-Stars.
Shaq, I'm disappointed in you, dog. I'm disappointed in you, Shaq, dog. Y'all could have won. Y'all could have at least won 5, dog. Kobe could have had 7 rings, dog. You know what I'm saying? But you having this big ego, not being on your health how you supposed to, not training how you supposed to, not doing what you supposed to. But you already said this, you know this. You know what I'm saying? But still was a hell of a run. Hell of a run. Hell of a run. I ain't gonna lie.
And 3 consecutive titles, and doing it with just those 2 All-Stars. And after years of playing with some of the worst collection of talent in the sport, the Lakers would acquire Pau Gasol, who was in his 7th year at the time with the Memphis Grizzlies. In those 7 seasons, Gasol had made 1 All-Star appearance, 0 All-NBA teams, and won 0 playoff games to that point in his career. As soon as the acquisition was made, Kobe would go to 3 more consecutive finals and win back-to-back championships with Gasol, the lone All-Star and only Hall of Famer other than Bryant on those rosters. But something else important would happen in the summer before the season when the Lakers acquired Pau Gasol in 2007. The Boston Celtics would trade for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen to pair them alongside existing All-Star Paul Pierce to create the Boston Big Three, in a move that many feel kick-started the NBA Super Team era. But taking a closer look at the context will reveal a different story altogether, as all 3 of these players were already in their 30s at the time they teamed up, and they had all played a minimum of 10 seasons in the NBA. In the 2 seasons preceding the Big Three team up in Boston, not a single one of these players made All-NBA first or second team, and not a single one of these 3 players finished anywhere near the top 5 in league end MVP voting.
You ain't even got to keep talking.
Like, what is we saying, bro?
You ain't even got to keep talking.
I hate when folks say this, bro. Like, they super team, do you, bro? I'm glad he made this video. I'm so glad he made it.
I'm gonna be real. An example he's giving right now is you can go and get. Let me you know what I'm saying, break it down right now. And matter of fact, real quick, we just finna do it for y'all. Let's think of 3 players right now that's good, but ain't make the top 5 in MVP votes. Ain't got no All NBAs, none of them, but they good. They good. We can go. Let me think of some folks. Let me think of some people. Who is But then at the same time they was in their 30s. On top of it. Bro, so you can't even think about it.
All of them already with 10 seasons in, bro. Like, let's keep it real.
No MVPs.
None.
No All NBAs.
No votes.
No nothing. No
All NBA. None of that. Like I keep trying to tell people. We was just good. Mm-hmm. We was a good team, a good system, dog. Y'all can't get mad just because it was 3 household names on the team, bro. Mm-hmm. That's all that is. Now, if all them folks was like literally in their prime, that's totally different. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm talking about like young KG, young Ray Allen from the
Minnesota
Bucks.
Timberwolves.
Yo, that's way different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nigga, we had ball Ray Allen. Come on, G. What
I'm
we
being
talking
real.
about? We had, bro.
I'm being out
But
of
see,
it.
this is my thing. They're just like, all right, I give you a prime example. They're just like when, we'll just say Vince Carter, for example. Of course, when he was in his prime, he was going crazy. He was dunking, shoot, all that. But what did he become when he got older? A spot-up shooter. So when he went to all these different teams, like the Grizzlies, the Hawks, all these different, he was a spot. The Mavs, he was a spot-up shooter. That's what Ray Allen was. Ray Allen wasn't going in a lane, doing crazy layups and dunking and crossing folks. He went, bro.
But it's the thing though. But we can say the same thing though. Like when he went to the Heat.
That's why they got him. That's what they needed.
But what they be like, oh, it's a super duper team now.
That was wild, like bro.
They didn't say nothing.
He was a spot up shooter, dog.
And y'all can't sit here and say
I'm just being the whole. I don't mean the whole time he was with Boston, bro. You can probably count on maybe one. How many times you actually seen him just go to the rack?
But that was my point I was going to get to. Y'all can't sit there and say, well, it doesn't count when he went with Miami going from the Celtics.
But it counted when he went to Boston.
I'm finna tell you why it's the same. Because even though he was older when he went from Boston to Miami, he did the exact same thing in Miami that he did in Boston. Spot up and shine.
He was a spot up shooter, dog.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like where is the super team?
He's a spot up shooter.
And they don't consider Rondo.
Yeah.
So,
but see, that's the thing though. They want them to be a super team so bad they started to add him in.
Man, stop.
They kept on saying it really want to be 3. It really was 4.
Man, stop.
But guess what? We drafted Rondo.
Man, stop.
We drafted Rondo.
Bron started it, dog.
We drafted Rondo at the end of the day, bro.
Team,
what it was LeBron started the super team because he could not beat the Celtics, dog. That's just what it was. He could not beat them with the Cavs.
It is what it is.
He left, went to the Heat so he could beat the Celtics. That's where it started, bro. It didn't start with no Boston, bro. I hate when folks say that.
But he's showing the facts.
He's showing the facts.
Matter of fact, go back a little bit. Talk to me.
All-NBA first or second team, and not a single one of these 3 players finished anywhere near the top 5 in league and MVP voting. None of these 3 were considered to be elite players at this stage of their careers. And while this team-up would generate 1 title, they would fall the next 2 seasons in the playoffs, while that guy in LA with the 1 fringe all-star would capture back-to-back championships.
And that's another thing that I be wanting to say too, bro. If we were such a super team, like really a super, you think we would have more rings, bro? Let's keep it real. We only got 1.
If y'all was a super team, y'all would beat Kobe.
Bro, we only got 1, dog.
Kobe came through and bro, I remember I was in summer school. Kobe came through and was giving out that work.
Going crazy.
Something that LeBron just couldn't do. He just couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it,
He just couldn't do it, bro. It just
and
is
that's
what it is.
And that's
Come
cool.
on, bro. Everybody ain't built like Kobe.
But that's facts, bro. That is facts, dog.
Play with the 1 fringe all-star would capture back-to-back championships. And as Kobe Bryant was ruling the NBA, the analytics-obsessed losers, the media, was giving LeBron James back-to-back league MVPs while his Cavaliers, with the best record in the NBA in back-to-back seasons,
Tony Allen got them on
out
lock
in the playoffs. After failing to win in his first 7 years with the Cavaliers, and in a fit of sheer desperation, based on the realization he could never win the way mostly every other all-time great had, LeBron panicked. He reached out to his buddy in Miami, and the 2 of them, behind their organization's backs, colluded, along with then 5-time consecutive All-Star Chris Bosh, to join forces in Miami. LeBron would hit that podium in the Boys and Girls Club in Connecticut on July 8th. And literally 1 day later, these 3 cowards would rise up out of the ground together during a pyrotechnics concert to officially kickstart the era of the super team. The three of these players were in the absolute hearts of their primes when contrasted with the Boston Big Three, as they were all in their mid to late 20s and all entering their 8th seasons. Laughable.
Gee, that is the most prime you can get. That is the most prime you can get. You
When-
gotta
that one
realize.
ain't hit 30 years old.
Think about it like this. You got Westbrook, James Harden, KD, all in their 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get them 4 years. I think Westbrook like 31, 32. KD like 33. James Harden a year younger than both of them, so he probably like 31 or 30 half old. Let's just say we go back 4 years. 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years, Westbrook was having a triple-double. KD was the greatest player of all time at that time on the Warriors. James Harden was the best scorer, scoring 60, and they all was around like what? 28, 29, 27. Prime. That is what this is, bro. If you just threw them back, if you threw them right back on the thunder, how they was right like that, dude, come on, fool.
It's over with.
Like, bro, come on, y'all. Let's be real, bro. Like, man, this is a super, bro. Look, he 5 All-Stars. 5. Before he got here. 5 consecutive years in a row. He won the championship with Shaquille O'Neal. He's arguably his team right here was, bro. He brought a team from nothing all the way back up to the best record in the league and all this, and they all joined forces.
Nobody talking about no Cavs.
Man, come on, dog. Come on, bro. Come on, what are we talking about, bro?
Pathetic and humiliating for their legacies, but historical NBA precedent entering their 8th seasons. Laughable, pathetic, and humiliating for their legacies, but historical NBA precedent be damned. LeBron needed to steal some cheap rings. In the 2 seasons prior to this unholy alliance, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade were both first-team All-NBA, and both of them finished top 5 in MVP voting in those 2 previous years. Wade, of course, was just a few years removed from winning a championship and Finals MVP. These were the 2 best players in the conference and 2 of the 3 best players in the NBA in their primes, deciding to come together from different teams. This had never happened before, but that wasn't enough. Chris Bosh, who had career averages at the time of 20 points and 10 rebounds per game, who had made 5 straight All-Star teams, and an All-NBA second team in 2007, also came along for the ride. Despite this team hilariously somehow failing to win the championship in 2 of their 4 years together, the Heat were, unsurprisingly, able to win the title twice. But once that team was showing signs of decline, rather than stick it out with the second team, LeBron decided to jump ship back to his first team. But it wasn't to fulfill some pledge of responsibility to his hometown team that drafted him and who he stabbed in the back 4 years earlier. No, it was to team up with #1 overall pick from 2011, Kyrie Irving, who in his first 3 seasons in the NBA was averaging 21 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds per game while making 2 All-Star teams. The Cavs would then trade the #1 overall pick from that year, Andrew Wiggins, for a player in Kevin Love who was undoubtedly a top 10 player in the NBA at that time. At just 25 years of age, Kevin Love, who was in his 6th season, had made an All-Star team 3 times and had just become the first player ever to that point in post-merger modern NBA history to average 26 points, 12 rebounds, and
At this point, yeah, bro.
What are we talking about?
What is we talking, bro? Look at this man's stats.
I ain't gonna lie. That Minnesota K-Love was crazy.
So you telling me this what we coming to? You went to a super team, but you beat your super team. You know what I'm saying? You went there.
Went back home and built another one.
You went back home and basically built another. You got the #1 drafted player. He already averaging 21 points.
Top 10.
Top 10 player. He averaging 26 points. The number one player that got drafted was in the league for 3 years and went to the All-Star. It was All-Star 2 years out of the 3. You got Kevin Love averaging 26, 12, and 4. He's in the league for 6 years and went to the All-Stars
Still in his prime.
3 years out of the 6, still in his prime. So they've been All-Stars more than they have not been All-Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And they both in their prime, both young. Man, come on, dog. What we saying, dog?
Modern NBA history to average 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists in a season. The year prior to joining forces on LeBron's second super team, Love was also top 3 in many advanced metrics, such as PER, value over replacement, and he finished second in box plus minus behind only league MVP Kevin Durant. Love was named second team All-NBA in 2 of his last 3 years with Minnesota before making the super team jump. This team was so impossibly loaded that when healthy and playing together, they beat a 73-9 Golden State Warriors team that had the best regular season record in NBA history. But not to worry, the Warriors, seeing this super team, felt emboldened to build their own. And Kevin Durant, who like LeBron James years earlier, represented a very talented individual who was unable to win anything on his own. And if LeBron could do it, why not Durant? On July 7th, 2016, 5 years and 364 days.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Anybody that ever say the Celtics is a super team, dude.
And we started it, man. Y'all great.
Bro, I'm being real. Every time I heard Kevin Durant going to
the Warriors, I don't think nothing ever gonna beat that.
Bro, I don't think nothing gonna ever beat that dude.
At that time, no, never.
I'm being real. Like, I don't think nothing
is gonna ever beat that.
Nothing is gonna ever compare to that dog. Like, that right there was like, that broke me down that day. That broke me down.
Nigga down to the knees.
I was on my knees asking God, please, why don't tell me he did that?
On July 7th, 2016, 5 years and 364 days after that fateful night in Greenwich, Connecticut, Kevin Durant officially signed with the Golden State Warriors. And the era of the super team was popping at this point. You get a super team. You get a super team. In all, the Cavaliers and Warriors would meet in 4 consecutive NBA Finals.
What the fuck is we talking about, dog? It don't get no more super than that.
And I'm being real. I was tired of it too. I'm being real.
It was getting boring. That's why the NBA had to shake it up a little bit.
Bro, I'm getting so tired of seeing these folks, dog.
During the decade from the decision in 2010 to 2020, while they weren't all super teams, we would see an unprecedented amount of player movement and team-ups.
Now that, right there. Bro, that was crazy. Kawhi on them Raptors.
Dude, he was...
Got a ring and dipped.
Gee. And then he shoot like 72% from the field, dude.
Bro. Jumpers.
What he did to Philly was nasty. What he did to Philly was, whoa.
Get my boy and beat up out of there, boy, was crying.
Like the folks said, Ben Simmons ain't never been the same as since.
Ever since.
Ever since. Ben Simmons ain't never been the same as since.
Silent assassin for sure.
Man.
Now this what you call like, you can't do number respect, bro.
He
I don't care.
He did the East bad, bro.
Man, he ran through the East.
Man,
bad.
He came through and did the West even worse.
With a team, who you had? Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet and Siakam. Man, come
being
on.
real, you say Kyle Lowry recorded going to that boy. He decided to go.
Man, but Case.
That boy decided to go.
Siakam had just made a name for himself.
Fred
and Fred, shooter.
He had to take over for Kyle Lowry.
And I'm just being real. That's when, if we keep it a stat, that's when we start real deal talking about him. Because Kyle Lowry just boo-boo.
Mm-hmm.
Boo-boo.
Mm-hmm. Memphis Kyle Lowry,
you was on. You cool. But Houston, okay. But Toronto, no. Heat, come on now. Retire.
Of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to make their way to the Clippers, to James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Durant's pairing in Brooklyn, and LeBron colluding with his clutch sports brother Anthony Davis to force his way to the Lakers. The decade of the 2010s was the most sickening and non-competitive decade in the sports history. Yet revisionists and teenagers with no understanding or comprehension of basketball history pontificate about the level of competition in this era, which is as hilarious as it is ignorant. It is still yet to be seen where we will go from here, and the future for competitive balance and the possible shift away from the era of the super team does look bright. But there is simply...
That's a real ring right there.
Yeah, that was a real ring.
That's a real ring right there.
I ain't gonna lie, respect.
no denying what we saw in the decade of the 2010s that began with LeBron's decision was something we have never seen before and hopefully will never see again.
Jeez.
Beautiful video, my boy.
But I'm gonna be all the way 100 with you. I'm gonna be all the way 100. The way the league is now, and the way everything going now,
ain't no such thing as
I'm just being real. From here on out, that's all you're gonna see. And to be honest with you, I feel like the off season is more exciting than the actual season because you always trying to figure out where somebody gonna go, who finna get traded, who finna sign with who. Am I lying?
No, that's true. It's facts. We still trying to see what Dame finna do.
Come on, bro. That be the hot topic.
We trying to see what Dame finna do.
Every time somebody contract, they're like, you know that boy Dame contract, or you know that boy
What if he's go to the Lakers, dude?
come on, dog.
Oh my goodness, bro.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, bro. If
I
he
would
was
be
to go to the
surprised.
Lakers, bro, I would lose it.
But I'm just saying, the league so good now, and it's so full of talent. Like you said, it's like really
Everything is
almost every team super. Because even though you have a lot of stacked teams, shit, still got a lot of teams that's like, y'all be da-da-da. Y'all be, yeah.
Like if which guy that was to get a ring, that would be an out the mud ring to me. If they would have won that ring, the Kings.
Yeah, I was just thinking the Kings, they would have been crazy.
With Harrison Barnes, and, you know what I'm saying?
It's just a super league right now.
It's a super league for sure.
Every team got about at least two all-stars, maybe 3.
That's what they come 3 all-stars.
Cause I'm just being real, these folks. What?
They come 3 all-stars. That shit is wild.
The bootiest team is the Pistons.
For sure.
It don't get no worse than that. I'm just being real. It don't get no booty. Cade Cunningham, come on now. You know when he get right and he gone for sure.
He gonna get that bag and get up out of here.
He's out of there. Pistons fresh, but everybody else decent. I'm just being real, or good, or cold. I ain't really just no do teams.
It's not for real.
Like just at the bottom of the barrel.
It's really not. I'm telling you.
Who was the worst teams last year? Pistons and who? Was it Toronto? Nah, it wasn't Toronto.
You said who's the worst what?
Teams last year?
Pistons.
I'm just saying, besides them, like...
Nobody. Dead serious.
That shit crazy.
You gotta realize, Timberwolves was almost in there. Toronto was almost in there. The Jazz stayed at number 5 for the longest.
What about Charlotte?
Charlotte, okay, yeah.
Charlotte
they was trained. But at the
But,
beginning, they was going crazy.
I was gonna say.
Until which guy got hurt. You see what I'm saying? So Charlotte.
That's crazy.
So this one saying you can't even say Pistons.
Even the Magic did, huh?
Yeah, the Magic, they was in there. They was trying. They almost got into the what you call into the play-in.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like Pistons is the only one. Pistons was the only one that just
It's just terrible.
Like
There's nothing we can do.
there's nothing we can do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, they need to call your boy. I do me a little 10 days.
but the only thing I can say, K Cunningham did get them almost into the play-in.
Nah, it ain't his fault though.
Yeah,
It ain't
like-
his fault. Them folks is trash.
They didn't do it.
That's just what it is.
Stewart, you need to get up out of there too, my boy. I like you, cause you should be LeBron. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie though, man. This
Little Black Blake had to get up out of there.
Oh yeah, Blake, come on. He just trying to ride. He trying to ride along and doing them with y'all. I don't need that. Like he just trying to ride along at this point. I don't need that, lie, bro.
Yeah, what it is though.
Shout out to Skate. You know what I'm saying?
You
My
keep it
boy,
real.
you
I'm glad you made this video. Shout out. I'm glad you clarified all that boss stuff, which I know still gonna be people in the comments that disagree, like, nah, boss, woo, whatever. Facts is facts. You can't argue facts, and that's what I always. You can say how you feel all day long. You can't argue facts.
But you can't argue them
You can
facts.
give me your opinion. That's cool. I'm gonna respect it. But facts is facts.
Now get to look at these numbers.
It is what it is.
Just like that video we dropped today with the little KD stuff. I'm like, bro.
First of all, we ain't got to get into it.
We gotta get into
but
it.
It's cool. But
Cause you know they gonna do this video.
just watch the video.
Watch
Watch the video. Don't partially watch it. Don't watch bits and pieces. Don't. I'll just watch this and you got mad and pause it and you get to the comments because a lot of stuff that we say, y'all don't listen to, and y'all go straight to the comment section and say something that we already had said,
or that we about to say,
or we probably was about to say it, but you just cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all be getting in y'all feelings and y'all go straight to the comment section.
Mm-hmm. Y'all watch some, then cut it off and be like, man, let me tell
Just
you.
because you don't like a certain play.
Like, yeah, like, bro, you got a real deal. Like, bro, you got a real deal. Like, watch the video, bro.
Like I said, it is what it is. One thing about us, there's a lot of players we don't like. There's a lot of people, players we probably lost respect for. But when it come down to them as a player, as a whole, what they do on their court, you just can't disrespect, bro. They just what it is. But yeah, shout out, my boy. I'm glad you clarified that for us.
For sure.
Cause my boys in green ain't start that super team. You hear me?
You know what I'm saying?
It was LeBron. He started that.
Shout out my boy
Yeah.
Skate, man.
So
you know what I'm saying?
we good.
Celtics is not the first team. It is the team that started to see, but it's not the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? But man, we appreciate all the love y'all been giving us. We've been going up every day, every week. You know what I'm saying?
We've been going up, man.
We've been going up for real. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got us to 300 subscribers a month, bro. We really
We're trying to
appreciate
keep it going, man. For real.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, if y'all let this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the red, don't forget to subscribe.
Hit that bell.
Oh yeah, hit that bell.
You know what I'm saying? Notification. Know the game. You hear me?
Hit notifications.
Oh,
Hit that bell.
notifications.
And we out.
And we out.